19th century. Early 19th century. The Barbary states of Algiers, Morocco, Tripoli, and Tunis require America to pay protection money under the Barbary Treaties 1801, 8. The beginning of the First Barbary War. President Jefferson does not ask Congress for a declaration of war against Tripoli, but instead decides to begin military operations against Tripoli, arguing that the president has the right to begin military operations in self-defense without asking for permission from Congress. 9. July 24, an American naval squadron begins the blockade of Tripoli. The 8th of August, 1. The USS Enterprise takes the Tripolitan ship Tripoli 8, 1802. April 27, 2nd American Naval Squadron sent to the Mediterranean. The 8th of June, 19. Morocco declares war on the United States. 8, 1803. A Louisiana purchase from France for $15 million, financed by sale of American bonds in London and shipment of gold from London to Paris. June 2, Captain David Porter leads raid into Tripoli. First American amphibious landing in the Old World. 8, 1805. February 23, the American diplomat William Eaton meets with Hamid Karamanli, the exiled brother of the Pasha Yusuf Karamanli of Tripoli in Egypt, and agrees that the US will depose Yusuf and put Hamid on the throne. The first American effort at regime change. The 10th of March, 8. A force of American sailors, Marines, Tripolitan exiles and Egyptian mercenaries under the leadership of Eaton leaves Alexandria with the aim of deposing Pasha Yusuf of Tripoli. The 11th of April 28, Eaton's force takes Derna. The road is wide open to Tripoli. The 12th of June, 4. Tripoli and the US sign a peace treaty. 12, 1806. Essex case. British reverse policy, and seize American ships trading with French colonies. America responds with Non-Importation Act stopping imports of some items from Great Britain. 13, 1806. Napoleon issues Berlin Decree, a paper blockade of Great Britain. 1806. Diplomats negotiate treaty with Britain to extend the expiring Jay Treaty, rejected by Jefferson, and never in effect as relations deteriorate. HMS Leopard Wright mauls the US Chesapeake in 1807. HMS Leopard Wright mauls the US Chesapeake in 1807. 1807. US Navy humiliated by Royal Navy in Chesapeake. Leopard affair. Demand for war. Jefferson responds with economic warfare using embargoes. 1807-209 Embargo Act against Great Britain and France during their wars. 1807-12 Impressment of 6,000 sailors from American ships with US citizenship into the Royal Navy. Great Britain ignores vehement American protests. 1812 America declares war on Great Britain, beginning the War of 1812. 1812 US forces invade Canada to gain a bargaining chip. They are repeatedly repulsed. The US Army at Detroit surrenders without a fight. 1813. US wins control of Lake Erie and what is now Western Ontario. British and Indians defeated and Tecumseh killed. End of Indian threats to American settlement. 1814 Treaty of Fort Jackson. 1814 British raid and burn Washington, are repulsed at Baltimore. 1814 British invasion of northern New York defeated. 1814 December 24 Treaty of Ghent signed, providing status quo ante bellum, no change in boundaries. Great Britain no longer needs impressment and stops. 1815 British invasion. Army decisively defeated at the Battle of New Orleans. Treaty of Ghent goes in effect in February, opens long era of friendly trade and peaceful settlement of boundary issues. March 2, the US declares war on Algiers. 12 The beginning of the Second Barbary War. June 28, Commodore Stephen Decatur arrives off Algiers, after threatening bombardment. The Dey agrees to a peace treaty 2 days later in which he releases the American slaves, and agrees to the end of the United States' tributary status. 12, 1815 Treaties of Portage d'Issou. 1818 London Convention of 1818. Between the US and Great Britain. 1819 Adams-Onis Treaty. Spain cedes Florida to America for $5 million. America agrees to assume claims against Spain. America gives up claims to Texas. 1823 Monroe Doctrine. British propose America join, in stating that European powers will not be permitted further American colonization. President James Monroe states it on December 2 as Independent American Policy 1826 Treaty of Mississauga 1831 Treaty of Wapakoneta 1832 First Sumatran Expedition, in retaliation for the seizing of American ship Friendship of Salem, while engaged in the East Indies pepper trade. 1832 Treaty of Casita 1832 Treaty of Topekano 1833 Argentina. U.S. Navy shells the Falkland Islands, at the time under Argentine control, in retaliation for the seizing of American ships fishing in Argentine waters. Siam. Roberts Treaty of 1833 stipulates free trade with few limitations, most favored nation status, and relief for U.S. citizens in cases of shipwreck, piracy, or bankruptcy. 1837 Caroline Affair. Canadian military enters U.S. territory to burn a ship used by Canadian rebels. 1838 Aroostook War New Brunswick, no combat Second Sumatran Expedition, in retaliation for the massacre of the crew of an American merchant ship. 1842 Webster-Ashburton Treaty settles U.S.-Canada border, settling Aroostook War and Caroline Affair. 1843 Treaty of Bird's Fort. 1844 Oregon Question, America and Great Britain at Swords Point. 54, 40 or fight is American slogan. 14, 1844 Treaty of Wanhia. 1845 Annexation of Republic of Texas. Mexico breaks relations in retaliation. 1845's Little Mission fails to avert war with Mexico. 1846 Oregon crisis ended by compromise that splits the region, with British Columbia to Great Britain, and Washington, Idaho, and Oregon to America. 1846 Mexican-American War begins, Oregon settlement with Britain. 1848 Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, settled Mexican-American War, Rio Grande's U.S. border, territory of New Mexico rest of West ceded to America, especially California. U.S. pays Mexico $15 million, and assumes $3,250,000 liability against Mexico. 1849 Hawaiian-American Treaty of Friendship, Commerce, and Navigation signed with the Kingdom of Hawaii. 1850 Clayton-Bulwer Treaty. America and Great Britain agreed that both nations were not to colonize or control any Central American republic. Neither nation would seek exclusive control of Isthmian Canal, if canal built protected by both nations for neutrality and security. Any canal built open to all nations on equal terms. 1851 Treaty of Mendota. 1853 Gadsden Purchase of 30,000 square miles 78,700 kilometers in southern Arizona for $10 million for purpose of railroad connections. 1854 Kanagawa Treaty, Matthew Perry to Tokyo in 1853, returning 1854 with 7 warships. Treaty opened 2 Japanese ports, and guaranteeing the safety of shipwrecked American seamen. 1855 Quinault Treaty. 1856 Siam Harris Treaty of 1856, adds extraterritoriality status for U.S. citizens to provisions of Roberts Treaty of 1833, and appointment of a U.S. consul representative. 1857 Nicaragua, U.S. Navy forces the surrender of filibusterer William Walker, who had tried to seize control of the country. 1858 Modern era Japan. Harris Treaty of 1858. 1858 Yankton Treaty. 1858 Outrages at Jaffa resulted in significant U.S. efforts to coordinate with and pressure Ottoman officials, growing U.S. influence and strength in the region. 1859 Big War tense confrontation over the boundary between the U.S. and British North America, settled by arbitration. The pig the only casualty. 1861 President Abraham Lincoln proclaims blockade of Confederate States of America, giving it some legitimacy. 1861-65 Lincoln threatens war against any country that recognizes the Confederacy. No country does so. 1864-65 Maximilian affair. In defiance of the Monroe Doctrine, French Emperor Napoleon III placed Archduke Maximilian on Mexican throne. America warns France against intervention, with 50,000 combat troops being sent to the Mexican border by President Andrew Johnson. Maximilian overthrown. 1867 Alaska purchase. America purchases Alaska from Russia for $7,200,000. 1868 Treaty on Naturalization with North German Confederation marked first recognition by European power of the right of its subjects to become naturalized US citizens. 1868 Burlingame Treaty established formal friendly relations with China and placed them on most favored nation status. Chinese immigration encouraged, reversed in 1882 Chinese Exclusion Act. 1871 Alabama claims. During the American Civil War, Confederate States of America raider CSS Alabama built in Great Britain. America claimed direct and collateral damage against Great Britain, awarded $15,500,000 by International Tribunal. 1875 Reciprocity Treaty of 1875 with the Kingdom of Hawaii established free access to American markets for Hawaiian sugar and other products, and also ceded Pu'uloa, which became Pearl Harbor. 1891 Baltimore Crisis, minor scuffle with Chile over treatment of soldiers. 1893 Hawaii, January 16 to April 1. American businessmen unhappy with Queen Liliuokalani attempt to set up absolute monarchy, overthrows her with no violence, and proclaims provisional government. US Marines landed to protect American lives. Hawaiian President Harrison agreed to annexation, but treaty withdrawn. 1893 by President Grover Cleveland who rejects annexation. 1895 Venezuela crisis of 1895 is a dispute with Britain over the boundary of Venezuela and a British colony. It is finally settled by arbitration. 1897 The Alni-Pauncefote Treaty of 1897 is a proposed treaty with Britain in 1897 that required arbitration of major disputes. Despite wide public and elite support, the treaty was rejected by the US Senate, which was jealous of its prerogatives, and never went into effect. 1897-98 American public opinion is outraged by news of Spanish atrocities in Cuba. President McKinley demands reforms. 1898 DeLorme letter Spanish minister to Washington, writes disparagingly of President McKinley, casting doubt on Spain's promises to reform its role in Cuba. Spanish-American War, splendid little war with American quick victory. Treaty of Paris, US gains Philippines, Guam, and Puerto Rico, pays Spain for claims. Cuba comes under temporary US control. Hawaii seeks to join US, with votes lacking for 2/3 approval of a treaty on July 7. The Newlands Resolution in Congress annexes the Republic of Hawaii, with full US citizenship for Hawaiian citizens regardless of race. 1899, 1901 Philippine-American War, commonly known as the Philippine Insurrection. 1899 Open door policy for equal trading rights inside China, accepted by Great Britain, Germany, France, Italy, Russia, and Japan. 1900 US forces participate in international rescue in Peking. In Boxer a billion,